Look, what I want to know actually is this trope that we just saw on the screen, and I played in my intro, of Pauline Hanson as like the teacher figure. How did you come up with that?
So that was we were just talking about what's the best way to do the show as a blending of satire and education, and that lent itself to a classroom. And I remember when I was a kid, I went to the state parliament here in Victoria, and I couldn't believe just how childish it really was watching Question Time. Like, I was watching it and thinking, this reminds me of school, and everyone's like, "Oh, Mr. Speaker," and they're all saying it. Just felt like a classroom. So it did feel particularly conducive for it. And if the left were going to be making a cartoon like this, and they have all these unruly politicians, they would put Pauline as the teacher at the front as well, because it would seem ironic in their world. And it certainly started that way for us. But then as you get to know her as well, she's almost like an encyclopedia. And most of the conversations I have with Pauline are basically me just going, "Really?
Yeah.
Is that right?" And then you look it up, and it's 100% correct. She's pulled references out. She's like, page 13 of this particular book, and then we'll go and look it up, and yeah, she's 100% right. So it's been a huge learning. It's been an education for us, but it's honestly, it's not that far from the actual truth and reality at the moment. You've got all of these idiots running around being clowns in the classroom, and the only person who's sensible and actually makes a bit of sense is Pauline Hanson.
Well, that really is true. I mean, Pauline Hanson is a phenomenal human being, and it's atrocious that she gets lied about so much in the media, because she's, generous to a fault and incredibly intelligent, as you say. So I love seeing her out the front as a teacher, because she is sort of the only one who makes sense. And I agree with you about Question Time and the classroom. I mean, I watch it sometimes, and I see Milton Dick, the speaker. He's like, "People on the right, people to the right, it's far too noisy. It is far too noisy. You need to be quiet."
I can barely hear the question.
Yeah, I know, and that's what he sounds like. So, no, God, I'm raving, but I love that classroom motif. And look, tell me, does Pauline Hanson, she does her own voice, does she, on the cartoon?
She does indeed. Yeah, full credit to her. Like, it's certainly not something she was comfortable with at the start, not overly comfortable. But she's adapted to the job. It's a lot harder than it looks to do voice acting. You have to be quite silly, which is not something that is often begged of Pauline Hanson, to be silly, and it's not something that's probably in her comfort zone either. But she's stepped up, and you often see it when we get guest characters in, or people who come in and do guest voices. They think it's going to be easy, but it's really not. So Pauline we barely, at the beginning, we used to have to do quite a few takes, but now she absolutely nails it. She's got a career in voice acting if she really wants it after politics.